So,
It's good stuff.
so is that dynamism you're talking about?
God, none of it was recorded. Dynamism happens when you get done the transcendental experience. So the human race is kind of stuck on either being beyond it all or being so engaged that we're going to take over the world. But to kind of keep it in check means that you have this my favorites list that you're listening to and that you're subject to. And that you know that there's certain things that you need to mature inside yourself. And now when you do a class and when you do whatever, you're in this place of dynamic engagement with whatever you're doing. So dynamism happens when you first land. Because if you have a wonderful experience, a game changer moment, a moment that ripples, that's the whole purpose of what we're doing. We're just trying to find moments that ripple, a moment that gets you out of your head and has you experience another chance to pay off a little more on the mortgage on your soul and your bad karma and your confusions and so forth. So you just have one moment. It's wonderful. You define it, you exact it, that bird and that person and that song, and you just keep it evolving. You know that the body's going to get heavier. You know that you're going to experience peace of mind without thought. You know that you're going to smile again. You know that you're going to experience contentment and satiation rather than energy chess. Don't yell. Rather than energy chess. All we do is energy chess with each other because we're scared to death of each other and we don't believe in each other. But the principle is that God is trying to heal you. Life is trying to heal you through your father, through the this, through the that, and you're not listening. So you have to try again and try to understand about it. So gravity and dynamism comes with the greater the experience of transcendentalism, thought, peace of mind, and so forth. And you come down in your body and you land like poof. And when you land, you've got power then to navigate the field. And you also have power to be more compassionate. You also have power to tell the truth that you have distortions, diseases, so forth. Now, this is all Nidan. So Wadan leads to Nidan. Yeah.
Thank you. Does this process in the 10 seconds, it almost seems like a mini version sometimes of what you just described. The other day I was all busy. I walked away into the corner where the trees were and I sat there and I did my 10 seconds, I made sure my feet were lined up. I was aware of my posture for a second and 10 seconds and then poof, everything disappeared. I felt this gravity. I was connected to the earth. I heard the birds, the wind, and all that stress stuff was gone. And then when I walked back, there was all this space. And like, so instead of everything being like, I was like, oh, okay. So is that kind of what the tens can do? Is like a little version of spaciousness right there. It takes 10 seconds. And then it lasted for about 45 minutes, and then the spaciousness kind of got narrower and then, so I'm just wondering, is that kind of what that's part of? Because it's kind of been new to me. Seems like the more I do the 5s and the 7 steps, then when I do the 10s, I'm like a quick version of almost to like in between 2 and 3, kind of.
Mm-hmm. And all the education results in more naturalness and more freedom. If it doesn't result in more naturalness and more freedom, then you're not following the directions. Now, when you have the experience of conflict and you do a 10 seconds and you get out of it, now that conflict still exists inside you, but it's more subtle. And if you re-engage it by looking inside of your physiology to where it is that now the outside world is starting another cycle of meditation, then you're able to keep dynamism going relationally. Because you're not thinking that, oh, I experienced this wonderful healing. And now I'm going to be on go. I'm going to do it. And really, you want to stay permeable. And so life starts to give you the next cycle of meditation, just like in the first step where you're kind of surrendering to whatever issues are going on. Now life is doing it, and it's talking to the subtle area of what's exposed that got you all mixed up in the first place. And you've got to make a biological map that's very, very clear. And once again, you can't do this unless you feel safe. So you're going to have to be protected. You're going to have to be intervened for. You're going to have to be advocated for. Advocation, Maggie?
Yes, advocation.
What's advocation mean? Or
To have somebody advocate for you, to allow somebody to advocate for you.
yeah. You ever get in trouble and somebody helped you out, paid your debt, held you, took away your pain, cared about you? Advocate. Now, if you're so in shock about everybody and you don't believe in one person in the entire earth again, then what's going to happen? You're going to get slammed. So that's why I'm talking to you. Because God is everybody wearing a mask, and somehow we've got to find a way to let advocacy happen for us. Because, it's a big team around here. So one human organism is groping to find itself. Where am I? Where am I? But we don't look here. So can you be specific about, some quote that is so beyond you that you can put it on the fridge, and when you read it, it'd be like, oh, I forgot. I mean, I just do that all day, all night. I forgot. Try again. Be receptive. The big problem is resentment and grudges. You have hidden resentments and grudges. And anybody that pops your bubble must be strategized against to not pop your bubble anymore. Right? But there's some people that pop your bubble that are actually going to just love you. And ideally, you can have that that's relationship, isn't it? You're both kind of working with each other's stuff, and you're forgiving each other, and you go back and forth. And so how about if you have a wise person? What's this thing called a wise person? Is there a wise person? I hope so, because if not, I'm toastified. I need that. I need somebody more intelligent than me to help me understand, because I don't understand. I don't understand life and things, a lot of things. So if I could feel safe, I could drop the defense mechanism and I could be receptive. Now, this requires slowing down. So you got to keep on making the decision of how that's going to happen with people. And if people in your life and they accomplish it, then you have to keep them in your life. Because somebody like me or me is going to come around and give you one more chance to start this kind of thing. And if you deny it, you're denying where it came from. So you better be careful. Because really what you want to do is energy chest me, right? When am I going to overcome Will and he won't burst my bubble anymore? Good luck. Cuestiones. Remember, three each.
I have one. You mentioned atomic compliance.
Atomic.
Can you touch on that? Because I don't
Yes,
really
ma'am.
get it.
We were talking last week or somewhere, us and Janice maybe.
Maybe.
And okay, atomic compliance. Atomic compliance.
I thought it was atomic. I wrote down atomic. Atmic. Okay.
What's the Atma, Upinder? Can you give us a thing on what the Atma is? All religion comes from Sanskrit, and the Atma is the key principle in Sanskrit. Do you know? I hope so.
So Atma is the soul.
Yes. Now you get lots of definitions, but let's say the one soul.
The one soul. Yeah.
Now, if you say Atman, then it's the individualized soul. And I've heard it put different ways, but the way I'm using it is there's one soul here.
Ek. In Indian, you say ek, one.
Ek.
Yeah, like ekunkar is a like a
Ekunkar.
ekunkar is ek.
Ik,
Ek atma.
ik
You would
Atma.
say ek atma hagia.
Ik Atma Hagia.
Yeah,
Ik Atma Hagia.
with the head bob.
Atma Hagia. It's okay. It Atma Hagia. Go beyond mind and body. It's no problem for you to go beyond mind and body because you're in mind all the time and you think you need energy. Then you're never beyond mind and body. What is it?
Ek atma hagia. There is one atma.
Ek Atma Hagia. Ek Atma Hagia. Or in Italian, Mafanabalama Jalamer. No, that's different. Ek Atma Hagia. Do you know what that is? Nicole, do you ever hear a relative babble those words?
Something similar, yeah.
Ek Atma Hagia, muy importante. Ek Atma Hagia es muy importante para ti. Por aprender muchísimo healing. Mucho.
Whoever knows how to spell that, can you put it in the chat? I just want to look at the
I'm
word.
getting there, Daniel.
Okay.
Ek Atma Hagia. Atmic compliance. Atmic compliance means, do you have trouble in any relationship? Do you have trouble in any self-image? Do you have trouble in whether you're any trouble? Do you have any trouble at all? Well, become compliant to the Atma. That's kind of the coup de grace of spiritual practice. In the Bible, that's Romans 8:28. Behold, all things work together for the good of those who love God, those who are called according to his purpose. You know, the Bible and the religion is just separate from people. They have no access to it because bigger the light, the more the mosquitoes. All religion is surrounded by nutcases, so you don't get the real thing. Or it's a business that is not with compassion and empathy for the individual. But the truth of these things is, oh my God, talk about wonder. Talk about solutions. You want a solution for your mind, for your body. Atmic compliance means I have mommy, daddy, sister, brother. I have Lena community relationships students. I have trips. I have self problems. I have Atmic compliance means I'm not listening, but I'm going to be compliant again. I'm going to be a good little boy, and I'm going to tell the truth that all these things are trying to teach me something. They're trying to actually correct, you could say. You know, there's areas of your psychology that need correction. That means right and wrong. So there's areas of my neurology, my psychology, my behavior that will be healed by the Atma. Yes, Upinder?
I just read that Shantae's in the waiting room, my friend.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Pavanam, Gurantu.
Hi, William. Thank you.
Mon
Thank you for
plaisir
welcoming
para
me
mí.
this morning.
No problema. Enkenkar Om Atman. What is it? Atman. Did you write it down? Well, you know what the idea is. So how do you surrender your mind to the Atma? Wow, that's Atmic compliance. How do you say that word, Upinder? That phrase?
Ek atma hagia. So that is, there is one Atma.
Ek,
I'm
I'll write it in there. Atma.
Just typing
I'm
it in
typing
right
it
now.
in right now.
Oh,
There is one Atma. If I
well,
spelled
that's it. That's enlightenment. You want miracles. You want to extricate yourself from the sea of psychic magnetism. That means
I-
what's going on between.
I tried to translate the best I could from Indian to English, so
Ik Atma
Hagia.
Hagia. Ik Atma Hagia. And so think of a poem that I wrote: washing waves, suspended time, soul in shrine, rest your mind. There's more to us in this bag of bones. Aha, you've always known. Happiness does come true. When you're ready, go into part 2. And then there's a part 2, whatever it is, I don't know. Ik Atma Hagia. The whole thing is what I'm doing now is, I'm dancing back and forth to stop time and traffic. That's a suspended animation place. And that's the place of magic. So how do you have that embodied? How do you have that while you're in relationship, while you're listening and communicating with other people? Because normally what your mind is saying is that I've got to keep holding space and keep analyzing and keep whoever it is. There's nobody you let in, right? But what if that's the solution, which it is? You have to let the other person in. Will it cause you suffering? Oh, yeah. And that suffering is nectar because it makes you find out who you are. Ik Atma Hagia. Atma compliance. Atma compliance. Atma compliance. Atma compliance. The delivery of energy that comes out of a session of Atma compliance, which I guess is what I try to accomplish, is phenomenal. But how are you going to surrender your defense mechanisms to Ik Atma Hagia? To me, to mommy and daddy, to sister and brother, because that's where your personality is from. The mystical dimension of life is true magic, and you have that true magic within you. But you're going to have to do Ek Atma Hagia to experience it. So take decisive action. My 2 PhD sister told me one time. I don't know what I asked her, something about intelligence or something. Well, what's the best thing you learned or something? And she said, take decisive action. And then I asked her years later, remember when you said to me, take decisive action? She said, I never said that. Get your head out of the book, sister. Ik Atma Hagia. Oh my gosh, you really got me with that one. That's the whole deal. So you have to see inside your mind's eye everything that's going on and find a way to be surrendered to other personalities as your savior. Maggie's going to send me to hell. If you do that, if you actually surrender to God, I mean, what does an enlightened person see? They see God in other people's eyes. Right? Isn't that like normal for an enlightened person? Or let's say you're loving, in a real loving mood. No matter what the other person is doing, don't you see the love and the light inside of them? How about if you're in a bad mood? That's the end of that, right? So you see inside your mind's eye You've got to live third eye open. Can't live third eye open if you're stuck in energy all the time. Energy chest, which we are. No, I'm not going to stop saying it. Sorry. But we can, try again. And you surrender, and now life floods in, and you see vastly. Can you sit here and see the stars and stuff like that? Can you be alone, or must you be on to somebody else or something to get energy and to get? Can you be okay? If you're okay right now, if you're okay, basically okay, then be okay. You're basically okay. You can compare it to suffering and the wars and people dying and stuff. You're basically okay, right? Looking pretty good, huh? Right? Can I get a? All right, well then be okay. Don't do anything or go anywhere or be anybody or strategize anything. Just be okay. In that, you will gain the power to change things. That's Ik Atma Hagia. Because you'll see all these people. You see so much with your third eye open. Because you're calm. Because you're, I'm okay. I know that I got plenty to work on, but I'm okay. So now you're not stuck in craving. You're stuck in being submitted. Because that tree and that sunshine and those stars and that relationship that you're afraid about and whatever, it's all trying to love you. It's all trying to heal you. That's the truth. Can you perceive Atma Hagia as a principle? Or can anybody here not perceive that as a principle? Please tell me about it and talk to me. Do you have a conception around it? If it's new to you, I get it, but I want you to please develop that concept because that's your solution. The miracle ingredients are these sites, these people, these places, these trees, these memories, these growing edges. That's the streams of miracles. And they can come into the ears and the eyes and the inner ears and the inner eyes only by finding your body. So alone in the scene in nature, all these streams come in, right? Sense, sight, sounds. What about when you're talking to people? Why can't that happen at the same time? So the miracle chamber is the miracle chamber, meaning a change of atmosphere within and around your body that changes breathing pattern, pulse, hormones, bone marrow production. That's caused by a wonderful moment where you're soaking up the atmosphere, where you're accepting the miracle streams. Every single circumstance of yourself and other people, every imperfection of yourself and other people. Prayerfulness or reverence gives you the permission to do it. So it's just a practice. No matter how good you do it, you still are you with all your messed up stuff. I get that. Too bad for me. Can't change it. I don't have the hope for that. But I do have the hope for enlightenment. I do have the hope for healing. It's a very distant thing, but it's there. But as is right now, me, so you have to express your inner, right, Om Shanti? Where are you? How come we can't see you, huh? How come? How come we can't? Huh?
I'm just not in the most conducive place where there's very much light. And I did just wake up a few minutes ago, but I am here.
Check 1, 2. Pravanam Pamarakumar, Kyalabala Pawaka again, Jasu Hiridayaga, Sahim Rama Sarachapada, Hatulita Baladamam, Hey Mashela Badeham. Gunu Charina Krishan Gyaninana Graganyam Sakalagunini Danam Vanaranamadisham Ragupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Namam Goshpati Kritavarisham, Mashaki Krita Rakshasam, Ramayana Mahamala Radnam, Vande Milat Majam, Anjana Nandanam Viram, Janaki Shokanashanam, Shri Ramadutam, Sharanam, surrender, Prapatye, go for refuge. Shri Ramadutam, Sharanam Prapatye, Shri Ramadutam, Sharanam Prapatye, Shri Ramadutam, Sharanam Prapatye, Bolo Bajalang Bari, Hanuman Ki Jai. That's like Archangel Michael in Hinduism. You know, Hinduism, that hellbound satanic religion. I just said that for you know who, but I don't want to scare Shanti. Just kidding, man. Just kidding.
Hanumani ki jai.
Yay!
Jai.
Like Archangel Michael. Years ago, when I was 10 times as nuts as I am now, I used to wear the guru clothes and the Hanuman thing, and I was the guy in the kirtan that was like ready to protect the guru. I was Hanumanji. So I know the whole Hanuman Chalisa. What a wonderful thing the Ramayana is. Oh my God, Maggie, you'll never see that. Amazing scriptures, Ramayana. So you've got Ram and Sita. Ram and Sita are the divine couple. And it is mind-blowing. We got to watch more of that, honey. I don't know why we stopped watching it. Ram and Sita go through every kind of circumstance that you can think of in the Ramayana as a man and as a woman. They field every kind of circumstance, and they're so careful and so calm, and they're actually incarnates of God. Rama's like God incarnate, but he pretends that he's not all the time for everybody, so everybody can learn. So when there's a problem, he goes through figuring out the problem as if he had to figure it out. And in the 70s, all of India stopped when the Ramayana was playing. They would put a TV out in the middle of the street for the whole community to come out and watch the Ramayana. What an amazing teacher of psychology and teacher of religious principles. Very wonderful. And that's the Hanuman Chalisa, which is the song to like, it's like Archangel Michael, but it's Hanuman. Hanuman has his chest is ripped open. Pardon me. And he has Ram and Sita in his chest. And he's the protector of Ram and Sita. So he's got rips, you know. Yeah. All right. Cuestiones. Remember, 3 questions, everyone.
I have a question.
Yes,
When
please.
you talk about being okay, and it's okay to be, you know, just be okay, and that's surrendering. So when you're not okay, I just let myself not be okay. There's no fixing it, but am I doing that correctly? Because sometimes not being okay, like, you know, me, can roll into maybe depression or whatever, put a label on it. So I've been just allowing myself to not be okay for the day, and then eventually that leads into quietness and meditation, and that's kind of how I get my yuck out. So do you think that's good?
Yeah, you've got, if you're depressed, be depressed. If you're sad, be sad. Don't try to change it.
And not say like, I'm okay. I mean, like, I'm okay, but I'm really not okay today. So I just kind of call it what it is.
Yeah, don't be afraid to say I'm not okay. It leads to being okay more so. You know, in the in-process parts of our psychology and behavior, we're not okay. We have shit about us. That's it. So we're not okay like that. And what can you do? But if you allow it, Lena and I were talking about this the other day. I forget how I said it. She made me write down something, but I don't even know what I said. Honey, can you say what I said with the Carolyn Mace thing? Because I don't know what I said.
I think you said something like if you allowed whatever is happening, like pain and suffering, then is when the purification actually happens, because
Right.
then all this is shaken like in a laundry. So then the purification of this is washed away. I think you said something like that.
You see why I'm in love? I feel better. Okay, thanks all for coming. We'll see you all later. The master has spoke. Because I don't know what I'm studying, teaching constantly, and I don't know what the heck, but it's so important to get the words right. And that's a nice way. The agitator on the washing machine. So if we don't allow the suffering, then life cannot come in to clean us. But it automatically allows to our consciousness this happiness. So it cycles. You don't get stuck in 1 or 2 or 3 or anything. Every time that you experience these cycles, you take a dip in the flow, dip in magic waters. So if you can really conclude that there's aspects of myself, speaking as yourself, that I don't know how to heal or change. I keep doing it wrong. I mean, if you don't have that as part of, or I don't understand it, or I'm afraid, you know, if you don't have that as part of your conscious psychology, then you're going to be in trouble. So you just have that, and then automatically, as soon as you say, yeah, that's okay, I'm all right being ain't right. I'm okay with being not okay in that sense. But first you have to be not okay. This starts this generator, this water wheel generator of human transformation, because the miracle ingredients create the miracle chamber. So as soon as you remove the covering and you actually are not okay, you're depressed, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough for some circumstance, whatever, immediately this stuff comes in from the environment. And you become more coherent. You become more energized. The world is going to tell you, skip what I'm saying and go to just, you know, being beyond it all. Don't do that. Just believe me. What can I tell you? I'll give you $5. Oh. So, yeah. Then, you know, you're embraced in love, aren't you? Ek Atman, what's it called? That phrase. You're embraced in love right now, aren't you? Or you aren't? Who's not embraced in love? Give me a no. Are you embraced in love, Nicole? Okay. Adrian? Well, I think so. Pretty much. I mean, I guess, yeah. You really are. To think that you're going to get it right, don't do that. I'm warning you. It's not me warning you. I'm just trying to give you a warning sign, like on a road. You know, like I'm holding up a sign. Don't try that. The Tao Te Ching says that's like you're trying to take the tools of the master carpenter. You're going to hurt yourself. You're not God in the sense of your embodied psychology. That's the matrix stuff. You're in process then. Everybody wants to tell you you're not in process and you're already, that's like Satan teaching. Please pay attention and listen to my warning sign. Hi, Om Shanti. Ethereal girl. So we go from the absolute to the relative. Absolute, relative. And when you get one moment, one amazing moment, and you identify that moment of what would work for you as an individual, and you work with it, and you know the rules of the game, you go beyond thought, the body gets heavy, etc. You're a student. This is what samadhi is. And you say, oh, I have the teaching of what samadhi is. The body gets really heavy. I fall in love, become happy. Hormonal nectar happens in my body. I have brainwave coherence. My fatigue is relieved. Start to use your mind, which is like the matrix, to identify the experience that gets you out of the matrix. Now you got it, Andre. So somehow enough explanation from whatever you're deciding to listen to is going to cause that moment. And one moment changes destinies. Then you just, when you meditate, meditation is, prayer leads to meditation. Meditation is time off, but it's embodied time off. Transcendence happens from embodied time off. Transcendence doesn't happen by skipping the body and the mind and going into the ethereal. Okay, and Qigong, embryonic breathing. So then you're back into the same old experience of working on these issues. You didn't repress them. They should be part of your daily life, whatever